Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpear.
Howdy. I like the
Uh,
very dramatic light I've got going on here in the video
yeah,
plays.
very, very stark. Your director of photography is very good. Um, okay, so we're halfway through season 7 here. We got the two classics out of the way. Let's talk about
Uh-huh.
all the crap.
Otherwise known as Alien Cubed.
Yes, Alien Cubed. Sort of, its reputation precedes it as to put it kindly, a troubled movie from nearly the get-go to actual current time. Like it seems like nearly everything went wrong with it, um,
Yep.
including almost pushing David Fincher out of the film industry. Um,
Before he'd even really got started.
yeah, yeah. I made a couple of music videos for Madonna, so let's do an Alien movie. It's like, oh, okay,
Uh-huh.
sure, sure
And
thing.
the funny thing is like this was like he did a whole bunch of music videos, yeah, and then like this was like pretty much I think it might have been his first full movie.
I believe so. Yeah. His next
And
movie was Seven.
yep,
Yeah.
which funnily enough, based on how troubled the development of this movie was, he was never going to work in the industry again as a movie
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
And two people, which I think was like one of the executive producers or something, and Sigourney Weaver stood up for him.
Oh, nice.
And the person he worked with on this, who stood up for him, gave him the Seven job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
Interesting.
it's where when studios get involved a little bit too much would be the top 10 YouTube video title we would use for
Right.
this movie.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we definitely are watching the assembly cut. Seems like most recently it's called the special edition. This is it seems to be more than a director's cut, but kind of continues the same spirit of you guys kind of chopped my movie to all hell, and here's something a little bit closer to what I was really intending. Maybe not, the film he had in his mind, but
Mm-hmm.
the film he can represent with the footage he has and what he had to work with. Um,
Yep.
so we'll be definitely watching that version for kind of the obvious reasons here. Um, yeah, I this one is interesting because I feel like for me my expectations going in seems like these next two movies are not beloved. They might be personal favorites of people, but that's not exactly a a popular opinion. Um,
Mm-hmm. I
seems
adore
like
basketball.
what's that?
I really like the basketball movie, which
Yes,
is
I do too.
to to put it politely, a problematic movie in 2021.
It's not a great movie, but I like it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I like this movie.
Okay.
I do. I like all four of these movies for individual reasons,
Hmm.
each of their own. This movie does something in the first 4 minutes, which you will know why immediately. There is a
Okay.
whole bunch of angry people about this
Okay.
movie straight away.
Yeah, I think one of my concerns, knowing nothing about this movie, I don't know anything about any of these movies going in that I haven't seen, is how are we going to bridge the ending of Aliens and start another movie?
Uh
uh,
huh.
and I'm assuming that's probably the problematic the problem here at the beginning of the movie. Um, but it seems like that's a concern going in. Is sort of like, all right, I sort of bought what you did in the beginning of Aliens, like that paid off. I felt like that worked out okay. But what are you gonna do this time? It can't just be like, we found her again. Scoop her up. Let's go. Um, that would That would not be great. Moon is like chewing his tongue over there, so
Mm-hmm.
I think I will be in for something that maybe isn't a surprise.
I'm doing my best to say absolutely nothing about the actual spoilers with regards
Yeah.
to this movie because, I mean, like I said, like I genuinely do like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It has its problems, as
Mm-hmm.
they all do, but I actually do like this movie, and I like the ending as much as a lot of people despise it. And from
Sure.
what I understand from talking to resident alien expert Mackie,
Mm-hmm.
the ending that we will see is not the ending I saw because I have never seen this version of the movie.
Oh, that's extra exciting. Okay, so you're gonna get
Uh-huh.
a first,
So
second take.
yes, so I
Yeah.
actually like the POS that the studio put out.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I'm curious to see if you watch this one and be like, all right, this one's even better.
uh-huh. I
Yeah.
certainly hope so. Now,
Yeah.
some things we need to talk about going into this first
Sure.
and foremost. This thing came out in 1992.
Right.
So that's a number of years after the previous two movies.
Yep.
So, as you can imagine, whole bunch of hype about this movie.
Oh, for sure. Like aliens coming back. Yeah. It's been like
Uh-huh.
8 years or something.
What's the last movie that you can remember in the 90s that got a movie years after the last one?
Oh boy, I'm not the person to ask.
It's one of the biggest franchises in history.
In the 90s? Oh man, I feel like this is gonna be super obvious. I'm gonna kick myself in like 2 minutes.
Uh-huh. It is.
Terminator?
No.
No, that's
Come
too.
on. Bigger than Terminator, bigger than anything we've
Star
covered.
Wars?
There we go.
Oh no. Oh no.
And what was just coming to rise in the early 90s?
Electronic music in the States?
No, that was last season, dude.
Oh yeah, right.
Think about what the one thing that you loved across both Alien and Aliens. Despite them being very different, there was one thing there was 100% you loved about both of those movies.
Oh no, is this where we drop the world building through inference and we just explain everything like the midichlorians?
No, that's Prometheus.
Oh, okay.
We're getting closer.
Okay.
CG.
Yeah, it is 92, so the pod racer stuff it's the pod racer era, which the pod racing stuff still looks good.
The pod racing's great. The droids, on the other hand, they look horrifically bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the rise of CG.
Less puppets, less practical stuff, less tall dudes in a rubber suit, and more, hey, look at this CG alien.
And it's even better because this is not a green screen movie. So
oh no.
So it's mid-90s. Hey, look at this CG alien on this practical set.
Oh no. Everything is going wrong. Okay. I get the impression part of the assembly cut is maybe an additional cleanup pass on some of that the CG
well
that
hope so.
Yeah, I get the impression that some of that has been touched up a little bit, which sounds like it would go a long way towards making this a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, problematic is an understatement for this movie. Like, I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this movie, I was disappointed. I came to adore it for its own flaws and advantages. Like, I came to love it for that stuff anyway. But yeah, this was 100% like watching South Park being directed on, like the episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes into the real world.
Right.
Like, it was like looking at that, and it's just like, oh no, this.
And that for me, I think, is something that I'm really interested in as these four movies kind of continue, is this almost anthology approach to aliens. Because for me, it's not like this precious thing. I like this idea of, here you got Ridley Scott's take, here you got Oh my god, who directed Aliens? I'm drawing such a
James
blank.
Cameron.
Thank you. I've got like 3 hours sleep last night. You got James Cameron's take. Now you're gonna get Fincher's take, who's largely directed a lot of stuff that I like. After this, of course, I kind of like this idea of here's everybody gets their own take on
Huh?
Alien, and for better or for worse, they all kind of get sewn together
Yep.
in some fashion.
It's something I absolutely love. I love it when different directors get to come in and put their own spin on things. It
Yep.
can go the other way, as we saw with the new Star Wars trilogy, where,
Yeah.
it's references, ooh, plot building, what the hell happened in
Right.
that order kind of
Right.
thing. But this is actually something that I think the 4 Alien movies, these 4 that we're doing, it works so well about them. Is it's so every movie is so different because every director is so different.
Yeah.
Like it's the good and bad thing about having the studio own the rights to the franchise kind of thing,
Yeah.
because it allows them to say, yeah, okay, maybe Ridley Scott's not available. How about this person?
Yeah.
Or
How
we
about
don't
this
like
hot new
Ridley Scott's
director we
idea.
got? Bring the kid in for the
Uh-huh.
Alien movie. Yeah. And I think what's interesting too is it's not like the same DP is through all the movies. Like Geiger isn't working on all of the movies. Like it's fundamentally, except for the first two, sort of shooting in the same soundstage in the same area. It's interesting that each
Mhm.
one of these kind of has a different approach and a different take on the entire thing. But I think we saw an interesting through line through the first two movies where Alien is almost this like closed room mystery sort of horror thing where they're in one location and they're trapped by this thing. And two, I think, as we talked about in that episode, liked a lot of the additional world building they have, naming companies, seeing the space station, seeing going back to the planet where the aliens had crashed, all this stuff. So I think I'm kind of interested to see. I expect more of these movies to be more action and less horror as they continue, sort of setting aside the Ridley Scott latest two movies. And I sort of expect them to continue to expand on the universe and expand on the hows and the whys,
Mhm.
possibly to the movie's detriment.
Yep. Well, we definitely get more world building in this, which some of the world building they do in this is absolutely amazing. It's like one of my chef's kisses to these moments.
Nice.
And then some of the other world building is not so great.
You're just telling them to stop. It's like, no, please stop talking. No.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
All right. Well, on that note, you ready to go watch the movie?
Honestly, yes, because I'm looking forward to seeing what this version of the movie does. Because I've owned the quadrilogy for years,
Right.
and this is the movie I do not go back to.
Right.
Period.
Right. All right. Well, let's go watch the movie.
Yep.
Welcome back. We have watched Alien Cubed with three times as many alien. Nope, that's not it.
Well,
3 times less aliens, maybe. Boy, we just to recap here, we're watching the assembly cut, the 2 hour and 40-minute joint here. This is Moon's first viewing of the assembly version, which I tweeted about the other day, saying that I was looking at some behind-the-scenes stuff in trivia, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the dog that the alien bursts out of," and I was like, "The what now? The who what?" So let's start off. Let's start off here with the beginning, the intro, the sort of opening credits here. The opening credits that I really like. I really like this, these fast cuts to really, really short snippets of what's happening in the EEV.
Yep. Uh, by the way, just so you know, I totally didn't notice this until now, but I love the fact that you've got this weird shaky cam thing going on. It's fantastic. Like
Do
every
I?
time you get expressive, the camera just goes. Wibble, wibble, wibble,
Yeah,
wibble, wibble,
woo.
wibble.
Yeah, I'm trained to be a modern NCIS filmmaker.
How how many combat drops have you had, Boston?
It's just yeah, I'm feeling a little shaky here. Um, yeah, I really like this intro. I like the kind of the fast cuts to this, especially with the face hugger cracking that glass. Like that's a really great shot.
Mm-hmm.
The content sucks. I like this whole like hand wave of like, oh, on this ship there was an egg. Whoa, it was a face hugger. Whoa,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's dead. Anyways, moving on. It's just like, what?
Yeah, and I'm a little bit confused in this
Mm-hmm.
because jumping all the way into the future
Okay.
to the end of the movie, essentially, there is a queen
Right.
that exists now. However, the alien that we get is not a queen, and still that means there's two facehuggers on board the ship. There is a queen facehugger, which is widely regarded as a different type of species,
Okay.
um, and a regular facehugger, or the queen facehugger has got one load to go and can only do the queen he wants, and then does regular aliens from then on, and can somehow survive the first one as well. By the way,
Yeah, there's a little bit here where it's sort of like I like the sort
hand
of
wavy.
yeah
Hand wavy is the best,
I
best
like the
for that.
obfuscation here of like who had the face hugger on them, because I think
Mhm.
my knee jerk reaction was like, oh, it was Newt, because Newt drowned, and that would make sense because the thing cracked open, but I like that twist later on of like, no, it was Ripley. Whoops, whoops a
Mhm.
doodle. Um, Still a good question of like how they knew it was a queen, but I'm not entirely sure. But
You can tell on the scan that it's got the extra ridge at the top of the head, like
I
the way the
see
queen's got the extra ridge.
the way that the screen for that flickered really hurt my eyes. So a lot of it
Oh,
was just
did you get nauseous at all? Because
not
this is
nauseous, just
special.
like the flickering was just like my brain is like, nope, nope, can't do that. So a lot of that I was just looking away. It's like that's an alien. Okay, cool. That's a cool little thing then.
Yeah,
Um,
well, we get the thing that annoyed everybody. Like, we get the intro, the
yeah,
EEV is ejected, and it crash lands on Prison Planet,
a
which is
double
a
Y chromosome prison planet, which
yeah,
is
which
a real way to put that.
that's actually a legitimate medical condition.
Oh, for
XYY.
for sure, but it's one of those things where it's like I feel like if this movie was made in modern times, that would be
There'd be
something that they
backlash
would
against
write
it.
out of the script real early, where they're like, we probably can't do that anymore. That's probably not okay. It's fine. It's not like they're using any slurs or anything, but it's just sort of like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, maybe not have that one.
yeah,
But yes, the EV crash lands on a prison planet, and we're met by Tyrion Lannister.
yeah, yep.
Speaking of
Um,
all-star casts, shall we
yeah,
continue?
he's man, he's good in this.
Uh-huh. And shows that he can be a good guy. He's destined to be a bad guy,
Right,
always.
right.
But he
But for one
can be
movie,
a good
one
guy.
shining moment until he gets eaten by an alien. Um, yeah, this there's a lot of setup here, like for a really really long time, and
Uh-huh.
I understand why so much of it is here, but I feel like it's so different from the setup from the last two movies that a lot of it is like, oh, okay, all right. Oh, there's another scene here. Okay, like I wish it would just keep moving a little bit more. I'm sure the theatrical version moves a little bit faster than it needs to. Um, I wish there was maybe a bit of a better middle ground here.
Yeah.
Um, there is I do really like the tension for the whole autopsy scene though. Um,
Uh-huh.
that is of her just being like, no, for real, like, I don't need to tell you. It's cholera, maybe? Will you buy that? Cholera,
Oh,
okay. Um, and I just
which
like, go
a
ahead.
little behind the scenes here. Number one, the very first scene that Sigourney Weaver shot on this movie was her like in her sleeping gear, covered in lice,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
wearing a contact, which meant she was partially blind from one eye,
Oh,
and
right, when she has
also
like the messed up eye.
yeah, and
Mm,
they basically it's her unconscious with this first time director
right,
who was pouring lice all over her,
right.
who said that that made her very uncomfortable. However, she became appreciative of Finch during the autopsy scene, where he
Mm,
helped her get through that scene and give it the emphasis that it deserves.
interesting. Okay. I like, it's interesting because reading a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, like, um, Sigourney Weaver seems to have gone to bat for him
Uh-huh.
for this movie, saying like, no, this dude needs to be you got to treat him right. And I was always sort of curious why, because it seems like she felt very strongly about him and his performance. So that's interesting.
We
Yeah.
did jump over the thing that managed to annoy all of the Alien fans, though.
Okay.
Should we talk about Hicks? Should we talk about
Yeah.
Newt?
It's just such a bummer that like I appreciate, on one level I appreciate that Ripley as a character doesn't get to ride off happily into the sunset. Like
Oh,
that sucks in a way that I can really appreciate. But from someone that liked that squad of four that sort of survived the last movie, them sort of doing this hand wave of like, they all died in the crash. Anyways, it's like, wait, wait, hold on. Like
yeah.
that's not
It's a
that
little bit disappointing.
yeah, and it feels sort of, I'm not a filmmaker, but it feels a little bit unnecessary because it's like I feel like there still could have been all of them in this, um maybe except for Bishop because of the end of the movie. I feel like there could have been a place for all of them in this film.
Yeah, and if you want to amp up the tension on a prison planet, add a 13-year-old girl she'd be or something
Yeah,
at that point into it.
yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah,
It just it sort of stinks. Um,
yeah. As another brief side note here, sorry. Me and you have talked about covering the. I would like to talk about the extended universe, the AEU, if you will.
yes,
I'm not going to do that here. I'm probably going to do that as like a wrap up on the final movie that we're watching in
sure.
this batch. However, just a quick interjection here, and I'm glad it's not canon, and I'm glad it's actually being rewritten differently now. But I'm pretty sure between Aliens and this movie coming out, there was a graphic novel that involved Hicks continuing to do his military jazz.
Mm.
Um, Ripley went on and did something else she's not really mentioned, and Newt goes to live on a different colony, which is then overrun by aliens and is rescued again by Hicks.
Oh wow.
And then like she gets put into an insane asylum, and
Mm-hmm.
then Hicks, throughout the course of his military career, is constantly getting put into deep freeze,
Oh, interesting.
which leads to Hicks and Newt eventually meeting as grown-ups around the same age,
Oh wow, crazy.
which leads to all the hints that you might need to know about that storyline going forwards.
Ah, okay. Interesting. That's a cool take on
Mm-hmm.
what could have happened.
It's been rewritten since, so it's no longer Newt
Sure.
and Hicks. It's actually different people now.
Right.
But that is part of the extended universe canon, but
Mm.
not the Hicks and Newt version.
Gotcha. 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 Um. Yeah. The autopsy scene is great. Of like, um, not showing much, but kind of showing enough for you to be like, ooh, boy.
Mhm.
I did see behind the scenes that apparently they shot a lot of stuff that was real rough, and even the crew was like, "Hey, man, maybe we should not. maybe it's like, maybe it's too
Yep.
gross." So,
Yup.
The next notable scene that I have here is probably my favorite shot of this movie, and maybe one of my favorite shots in this trilogy so far. It is the two gross guys in the butcher area dragging the ox back and sort of
Yep. Did
not
you
having
catch?
a.
Did you
Well, go
catch
ahead.
one of the accents here?
One of them sound the. Hold on. My knee jerk was, oh yeah, the bald one sounded real familiar, and then my brain was just like, you absolute moron. That's literally part of the story. The sort of larger, older guy sounded very familiar. The one who is
He sound the
speaking
chatty one.
romantically about Ripley.
Uh-huh. That is because he is from Liverpool. That is
Aha.
a
Okay.
very distinct Scouse accent. Not
Mm-hmm.
not as harsh as it could be, but he's probably the middle ground between me and a Scouse accent.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, 100% from Liverpool, and
Mm-hmm.
talking about I give a little kiss, you know,
Yeah.
dirty smile.
And like he has some lines as he is wandering off, and I was just like, God, that guy sounds so familiar. That makes more
You have
sense.
probably seen him in like 10 gangster movies, but
Oh,
he's always a
100%.
bit part player.
Yeah, he has that voice where it's like you're like a B level gangster, like British gangster. Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
my favorite shot in this easily is the "Hey Frank, what's this?" scene where he just holds up the face hugger, and like the brilliant part is it's so far in the background and it's lit from behind, so it's just the silhouette of this thing, and like it's so iconic that
Hey,
yeah, there it
Boston,
is
what's
on the
this?
video version. Yeah, Moon has the face hugger lit from behind, but like you immediately know it's the face hugger, and you're like, aha, things are going way worse than I thought. Like
Uh-huh.
it's such an incredible shot that one of my favorite shots in these three movies is just him like, hey Frank, what's this? And I'm just like, what? There it is. All right, okay,
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's an either an assembly a cut or a director's cut version because
sure,
obviously it's the ox, not the dog.
right, right. Which is that ox is like watching them muscle that thing around this shop is just like it's a really good piece of work, especially when the alien starts to burst out of it here in a minute. Like it's just a big, rough, gross thing, and it's like, yeah, I don't know why you're showing me this. And about 5 minutes later, I'm like, uh huh, there it is. Okay, I I
Yep.
see. I'm putting it together.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think of the superintendent at 85?
Man, like the superintendent is just like this. The perfect self-important like pissant Napoleon that like, and then 85 being like, yeah boss, yeah, yeah, tell him, yeah,
Yep.
like that guy behind him just like
Literally repeats it. He is doing in this movie what Sigourney Weaver does in Galaxy Quest. He's just repeating what the boss says.
100%. Like it's like the both of them are so good of like you've had that boss like this little Napoleon stomping around the office with the guy behind him like, yeah, wash out your coffee cups, yeah, do what the boss says, yeah, and it's just it's so perfect. um
Again, the salacious crumb of Alien Cubed.
yes. Very much so. Like it the I just love that, like, and I think one thing that's really interesting with the superintendent is he really he really takes this ounce of power so seriously. And when you find
Uh-huh.
out that there's only 25 dudes on this giant planet left, it's just like, man, you don't have to do this at all. Like the Weyland Yutani does not care about, they care about you now, but they do not care
Yes.
about you at
Which
all.
we find out in the classic messages where it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, this is being recorded. It's like, okay, safety crew's on the way, approximately 6 days or whatever it is. It's like,
Mhm.
uh-huh, that was a fast response.
Right.
Mm,
Oh, weird. We got a high priority response. We've never really seen that before. Um,
uh-huh.
yeah, the sort of juxtaposition of the cremation scene and the alien bursting out was
Oh,
pretty good. That like
yeah, the life and death kind of counterpoints. It's
yeah,
so good.
like all the blood coming out of that thing, just like it really. They really sold that thing getting split apart by this alien, and then it bursts out, and you get some of that
Doesn't look
hot.
the same.
Yeah, you get some of that hot 1997 CG, which isn't. It's not bad, but it's.
There is a lot less in this version than I remember being in the original version. I will
Oh,
tell you that right now.
great. Um, yeah, it looks fine, but it's definitely like, yeah, that's not a person in a suit, shrunk down in this one. That's some CG. But I like
Huh.
that it bursts out, and it is uh, very large already, and just really just cooks off screen. It's just pew.
Yep.
I really I like how mobile they are immediately. I think that's like
Yeah.
one of the most terrifying things.
So this is something that actually got expanded on, I believe, in the comics and stuff like that. Why am I getting a baseball notification on my tablet? It's like, I don't watch baseball. Go away.
Famous baseball fan, Moonpier.
Uh-huh. It's been listening to me talk about MLB The Show. That's what it is.
Ah, there it
Uh,
is. Yeah.
but I like the fact that, like, while this is all going on, like, we do get introduced. We've already kind of been introduced to him. But the one of the best characters in this, which is Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
the preacher leader guy who has no qualms about admitting what everybody is,
Yep.
but seems to be able to see the good in people.
Yeah. Yeah. And has sort of ushered this interesting religion to the inmates here. All what is it? All but two people are inmates. Um,
Mhm. Well,
and
three, two officers and a medical officer.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it's interesting that he seems to be the connective tissue here between all of these people and kind of keeping them in line, while still managing to be pretty brutally honest about the situation they're in and who they are as people. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
We get the
It.
haircut scene.
What's up?
We get the haircut scene next.
Yeah, her beautiful curly locks are also gone. This movie's just removing thing after thing. um, yeah, this is the part where I sort of the next note I have here is after the doctor gets killed in the infirmary. So a lot of this stuff we have here is kind of.
There's like a good hour of world building.
Yeah, and like there's some cool stuff here, like the guy that finds the alien in the ventilation shaft and sees it kind of uh, growing and in the. Yes.
That's what I was gonna say. I was
Hmm.
going to mention before I got distracted by baseball notifications about how this movie, especially the original version, introduced everybody to the world of aliens based on what they hatch out of.
Yes. Right.
So our standard alien is just a human alien, essentially. We have the warrior aliens from Aliens, who
Right.
are more designed to protect the hive, like they are a specific type of animal. And this one, when I was in high school, this one was referred to as the dog alien because
Right.
it runs on all four, it comes out of a dog,
Yeah.
technically not an ox in the original version,
Right.
and has different set of skills and abilities compared to what the other ones are based on what it comes out of.
Right.
Also, kind of gave birth to the Praelian, which we'll get there eventually.
Okay. Um. Yeah. I think that tunnel part is actually pretty cool. I like that he's just like singing tunelessly and just scraping junk off this tunnel, and then
Uh-huh.
finds this hole, of course, and goes, oh, what's in there? Whoops, it's an alien. And then just not only gets injured pretty badly, but then falls into that giant fan and just turns into mist, which is
Yeah, he
actually pretty
giblets
good.
really, really bad.
Yeah,
Like, I
it's
love
pretty
when you
bad.
go back there when everybody's looking at the scene
Mm-hmm.
and like the doctor's there and there's just bits of viscera hanging from the ceiling. It's
Yep.
just so gross.
Yep. And I like that he figures out when he looks at the sort of scorch marks on that tunnel. Uh, I like that the doctor's like, Wait a minute. Maybe maybe there is something going on here. Like he and Ripley are the only two smart people on this entire planet that are like, well,
Uh-huh.
maybe something's a little bit off here.
Yup.
Yeah, a lot of the rest of this stuff is not to discount it, but a lot of it is the world building and meeting so many of these people and them kind of
I don't want to hear nothing about colic.
nothing about what?
Colic.
Yeah, is he the one that goes crazy because he saw a
Uh-huh.
dragon? You
Uh-huh.
know, I gotta say I like that he called the alien a dragon. There's
Uh-huh.
something specific about that that I really enjoy, where it's like it's so
Alien?
yeah, like it's so alien and it's so weird that like his brain morphs it into like, well, it has to be a dragon. Like, what else would it be? Um,
Mhm. He's
I
also the same one, by the way, who's getting crap talked by the two other guys who get gibleted um, by the alien when he first sees it. He's the
yeah,
one who's getting a
saying
whole
he
bunch of
smells
snipped
and
at him.
he didn't want to
Yeah.
work with him. Yeah, um, yeah. I thought his stuff was interesting. I feel like either they didn't explain it or maybe I missed something sort of critical here to the movie. But this like his worship of the alien, I thought was pretty interesting. Um,
Uh-huh.
did they explain that in the movie? Was there?
Nope.
Okay,
He's just very clearly someone who is extremely traumatized,
right,
already probably slightly deranged,
right,
and kind of just pushed over the edge by essentially seeing the perfect hunting mechanism come after him.
right. And it's kind of interesting. I wasn't sure if there was some sort of like hinting at any sort of xenomorph mind control or anything, but I think there's I think there's just this kind of admiration of a living dragon, which
I'm
hey man,
laughing,
I get it.
by the way,
Hmm.
because that comes into effect in the AU.
Yeah, I sort of had an impression of like maybe that's where I feel like either I missed something in here or this was something someone would run with very quickly where it's like, right,
Uh-huh.
if you survive, you're in love with the aliens. Like the xenomorphs are your jam now. Um,
In the AU, they mostly cover it as essentially the queen. So a
mm,
queen who is able to control a nest. Certain types of humans pick up on that same whatever it is, vibrational
sure.
frequency,
Queen
whatever.
pheromones.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
call them dreamers. So they're people with high IQ who are very
Mm,
um, susceptible to this specific wave range or frequency that the queen communicates on.
gotcha. Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought that stuff was pretty neat. I like that uh, Ripley is incredibly romantically forward with the doctor, where she's like,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, dude, what's up? What's good with
Uh-huh.
you?"
I
And
mean,
he's like,
I've kind of been out of it a while.
"Right." And I like that he's like, "You're very forward," and she's like, "Yep, you want to do this?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, great, go get it, Ripley."
Because, I mean, technically, if you think about it, she's waited like 100 years.
She's
Because,
been alive forever.
because assuming she had a partner back on Earth to have the daughter with,
Mm,
she probably hasn't had any since she left for to go collect the stuff that the Nostromo was tugging.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, I I thought the shots here in the infirmary of the doctor getting attacked by the alien was pretty great. Um,
What did you think of his backstory, by the way?
I thought that was really good. I thought that it was like hey, I made some real bad mistakes, and I have this opportunity to be a doctor and maybe do some good, but I'm not going anywhere because who's gonna hire me? Like, I can be a doctor here for these guys, but I can't do this anywhere else. Um,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. I like that it wasn't just like, no, I did bad stuff and, you know, it tossed me in here. It's like, nah, where else am I gonna go?
Have you seen Predators?
No.
Okay, then I was about to make a reference that you wouldn't get. I would spoil that movie, so I'm going to keep my mouth
Okay.
zipped
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, I like that he finally comes clean. He talks to her about it, and she's just sort of like, okay, like life's rough, man. How about I tell you my backstory? Like, I
And
can't I
just
can't
when you
catch a
get the
friggin'
feeling that
break.
she's about to,
Mm-hmm. And then I man, I feel like this movie or this series, if you look at it kind of critically, maybe leans too hard on the alien silently like like sneaking down from the
did
ceiling in
you almost just say slurping
the
down?
alien slurping down from the ceiling in the background out of focus. That gets me every time. I love it. I don't care. Like I just think it's the coolest. Like the crazy guy, the dragon lover, it like sees the tail in a reflection, and I'm just like, that's so good. That's so good. They have tails, and the whippy noise the tails make, like, God, the xenomorphs are so cool. I will watch like 2 hours of it just like silently hunting and like peeling
I've got
itself away from the ceiling.
I have got a game for you. It's called Alien Isolation.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe. But yeah,
The
like
bad news is it's hunting you. That's the bad news
yeah,
of that.
maybe that's the problem. Yeah. But yeah, like just so cool and like wrapping itself up in the curtain a little bit. Like you never really get a super good look at it while it's doing its murdery business. Um, yeah, that whole thing is great, and we finally get to the big shot that you always see here in the third movie of the alien like right up on her face,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really great, incredibly tense scene of it just like huffing her and leaving, and she's just like, dude,
I like
what?
I like the head tilt. Like it gets real close and then it does the head tilt and then
Yeah,
it kind
just
of
like,
moves away.
Yeah, there's this like, I like how they always do quick nods to it, like they were saying in Aliens. It's not a dumb animal. Like there's a good amount of intelligence here. I like that little head tilt of like, interesting.
Uh-huh. It's either a good amount of intelligence or a real high degree of instinct.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I like that she's just like, well, that was unexpected. Not sure what's going on. I should probably tell everyone an alien is here though. Um,
Huh?
I like that there's this very serious meeting with the superintendent in like the
This
mess
is
hall.
rumor control, Boston. Now this
Yes,
is
this
rumor
is
control
rumor
again.
control. And I like that he's having this very serious thing, and she comes in and she's like, dude, for real. Dude, I've been telling, it's the thing that's been hunting me across the galaxy, for real, and then just slurps up the superintendent, and everyone's just like, oh no.
Uh-huh. Their reaction as a group of prisoners is fantastic because they pick up knives and chairs and
Hmm.
everything.
They're
And
ready to
then
fight.
my favorite here is the cut to the after effects of like they're all having the meeting and talking about it and what's going on, and it's just
Hmm.
that one dude with a mop underneath
Just mopping and like
underneath that
looking
bed.
up the vent of like, oh god.
Mhm.
That's a really good shot. Yeah, I really just like, well, we got to clean this up, back to business, but also let's do
I'm
this.
sorry, you don't have to clean that up.
Right.
Period. You
We,
just
we have
don't.
important things to do, and no one liked that guy.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, my two notes here back to back sort of span a long period of time, so excuse me here in advance. I wrote, "Why did it leave her alone?" and then hit the enter key, and then said, "Oh, she has an alien in her."
So basically, you missed the entire fire sequence in that.
Yeah, I I really like that everyone's like, well, I don't want to be leader. It should be the preacher guy, and he's like, I definitely don't want to do this. Ripley's like, oh my god, okay, fine. So
She doesn't
let's.
even like do that. Like yeah, don't get me wrong. She comes up with a plan. Eventually, she kind of does do that.
Hmm.
But I love the fact that she's just like, no, you're all gonna die. We're
Yeah,
all gonna die.
yeah,
Like,
it's gonna happen this time for real. I keep seeing it. This thing is hunting me everywhere. I don't. It doesn't matter. I do like that they come up with what feels like a fairly solid plan. They're like, we're gonna use these chemicals. Where there's this room with this giant door that literally nothing can get through. Let's kind of burn it and trap it, around where it is. Get in that room, lock it up. Weyland Yutani can figure it out. That this is no longer our problem. And then it goes mostly wrong. The herd gets thinned quickly.
Yep. Well, when you go ahead and thin the head, a little bit of essentially knockoff dynamite, which they're painting all over the walls,
right.
is a really good way to go.
Yep. And there's a really great shot of the preacher guy talking to Ripley and saying like, "Hey man, you don't look so hot. Like, are you feeling okay?" And she's like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, no big deal. I feel fine." He's like, "Yeah, maybe you're missing the doctor guy, right? You guys got pretty close." And she's like, "Yeah, how about you stuff it?"
Yeah, how about you were looking through some keyholes, right? Yeah.
Yep, that's a great line.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I do like that they actually managed to trap the alien, and they're like, "Hey, that worked. A lot of us died. That's a whole bunch of peeps."
Did you catch who the one was who sacrificed himself to lure it into the containment?
I didn't catch the name. There's like so many people in this movie.
Yeah, they're all bald and all white dudes except for Dylan, essentially. So
yep.
It's hard to spot them. It's the one with the teardrop mole.
Yeah.
Who is the same one who tried to assault Ripley earlier.
Right. We didn't even talk about the bishop scene.
Honestly, I'm absolutely fine not talking about that scene. The only good thing about that scene is Dylan with a crowbar or a big piece of rebar saying, "Time to re-educate some brothers."
Yeah, with like a piece of brain hanging off the end of it. Like, it's real good. Animatronics on Bishop, real good. Too good, pretty gross, but real good piece of tech there. But yeah,
because the flight recorder, finding out what happened to the pod, that kind of scene.
Yeah.
Apparently it was the most advanced piece of Cybertronics at the time.
I bet. It still looks pretty good, like except for his like gross bulging eye. Like that's the only part where I'm like, boy, okay.
He was ripped apart by a queen and then in a space crash, right?
Yeah, but it's just like the eye like kept getting bigger and bulgier, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. All right. White blood, bleh, okay. But yeah, that stuff is pretty good, and they do trap the queen, or the alien. It's like, yeah, all right, that plan worked out. All right, sure, now everyone just needs to take a break for the rest of the hour of this movie. And Dragon Fan 2021 figures out a way to get himself freed.
Super Alien Fan. Thank you very much.
Yes. Triple X Alien Fan 69 Triple X. The one of the best and like sort of most harrowing scenes in this movie is where he goes to the door and he's like, "Hey man, can I just like get in that door? Can I see the alien? Like I really love aliens. Can I just like take a quick peek?" And he slices that dude's throat as he's saying, "Sorry." And I'm just like, oh, that's rough. Just like the immediate sorries out of him are just like, ooh, that's spicy.
He says it before he swings, and then in the process of swinging to about 30 seconds afterwards, he doesn't stop saying it.
It's so rough. Like, ooh. And then, of course, he goes in there, and he's like, all right, what do you want me to do, alien buddy? And then only one of them comes back out, which is great. The alien's doing what the alien does.
It's not Dragon Fan.
Right.
Quick note: we missed a lot of the Weyland Yutani BS in this whole thing. So we've missed the keep Ripley safe from the original message.
Right.
Then
quarantine her.
Alien captured, permission to terminate. Message
request denied.
Yep.
Yep.
And then we got EEV scan message received. Quarantine Lieutenant Ripley at all costs. Medevac now immediately on hustle. It's 2 hours away.
Yeah, I like that they like got the scan and they're like, we're here right now. Like, we gotta go.
You know
Um,
those switches on Dom's steering wheel and on his dashboard that he
right.
always hits?
Yeah.
They got one of those on the
Yeah,
spaceship.
hitting the spaceship nos. Yeah. I do like that whole scene in the EEV where she's getting scanned. Um there's something cool about him like panning through her brain and her body and just being like, I don't see anything, I don't see anything, and then bam, it's right there and the screen is like foreign tissue detected, and I'm just like, oh
And then it's
no.
like tissue not on file, and it's
Yep.
just like
And he's
I like the
like,
fact that he's like, yeah, you got one in, yeah.
yeah, I like that he isn't like most movies would be like, nope, scan's all clear. Everything that was just a normal noise. Beep beep beep. Nope, everything's yep, see, it made it again. I like that he's like, yeah, I don't think I've seen this very much before, but yeah, it's one of them. One of those right up in you. Um, and I like that Ripley immediately is like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm gonna kill this thing, or it's gonna kill
Real quick,
me. Like,
real quick, we have to talk about her needing to see it
yeah,
because she tells him to pause it, and then like she takes the time, she gets up from the cryopod that this whole scan is going in on, and then I think it's one of my favorite shots probably ever is when she's sitting there facing the camera. She's got her eyes closed. She takes a couple of deep breaths, and then she takes one more deep breath. And opens her eyes and looks left, and it's just like, well, crap, he's right.
right. Like
It's
she's come to
such good
terms with
acting
it. Yeah,
because it's like that gut punch moment where it's like gut check moment. Like I've got to look, I've got to look, I've got to look, I've got to look, forcing herself to do something that she doesn't want to do.
yeah,
Then
but she
notices
has
it,
to
and
know.
it's like, yeah. And then when she notices, she's just like, okay, well, f this s, you know, let's get it on. Are you ready
Yep,
to rumble? All of the fighting analogies. It's
yep.
time.
Is this where she goes to try and find it?
With the pipe.
Man, I love this scene. I like her line of like, "You've been part of my life for so long." I'm just like, yeah, man. Like,
I can't remember anything else. But
yeah,
that's a
like,
hell of a line.
man, what a bummer for this lady that's just like, I'm trying to do a job to bring ore back to Earth. Now I'm getting hunted by this perfect specimen across the galaxy. Like, just, and her, like, her poking it in the head and the lice coming out and finding it's just a pipe, like a rusty pipe.
And I like the fact that they actually use the alien model and then
Yes.
replace it with the pipe after she struck it, which is
Yep.
really good.
Yeah. And then it just being on the ceiling, man, like, hey, Ripley. And it's just like, ooh.
Yep, it does the whole splooge down thing as
Yep.
you described it,
Yeah.
and cut to black. And then
Right.
next thing you know, she's walking in to meet with Dylan, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, and she's just like, it won't kill me, man. And everyone's like, that's good. She's like, no, I don't. I want this. We should be done with this. Come on, like what I got to do to get this thing to kill me, man. Um, yeah, a lot of that is really good. Where she's just like begging anybody to be like, please, please, God, I know what happens to these things that come out of you. I had these bad nightmares in the last movie. I really don't want this to happen. Can somebody take care of this for me, please?
Please. This has kind of haunted my existence forever.
Yeah, and I feel like the plan they start coming up with is really solid again. Like,
I just love the fact that they're like, oh, it's afraid of fire. Let's go to the furnace
right,
on
this
this planet-sized lead works that we have.
right, it's just this moment of like, oh, of course we should have done that. Whoops. Um, I like this plan of like, we're gonna go bury it in molten lead. Like, we're gonna cast it in lead, essentially. We just gotta get it in there, but we know it's smart enough to not want to, so we're gonna chase it around and seal rooms off, and of course it's gonna kill almost all of us. I like that. I like that there's like this is like the second of two solid plans here of just like, we're gonna try and fool this alien to try and bury it under a mountain of molten
By
lead.
running through a bunch of narrow corridors.
Right. I feel like the the camera shot they use for like this is the alien's point of view in 2021 is kind of rote. But I feel like when this movie came out, that was probably pretty
I'm not gonna lie,
novel.
it was sick. It was
Yeah.
so sick because you're just like, oh, cool. It's the alien point of view. Wait, it's running sideways from the floor to the wall to the ceiling and
Right.
still keeping a bead on these people that it's chasing. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
And
okay.
also, I like that it gives you a real sense. Maybe this is like the first time I got a real good sense of exactly how fast it jumps. Because the two guys that run into each other and they're like, Rah, I'm an alien. Like those two guys. Like that alien is on one of them in like an instant and immediately eating it. I was like, wow, that's way faster than I thought. Jeez. Like,
Yep.
what a cool monster, man. Like I just yeah. Um
Well, man is the biggest monster of them all. Yes, I
that's
agree.
right. Yeah. I have watched zombie movies, yeah. Um I
And anything about capitalism, come on, let's
that's
face it.
that's true. Um yeah, I like that obviously almost all of them die cuz
Mhm.
that's
I
the
like
only
how
way to
Dylan gives them crap. It's like can't even run through it. Like they only got to run through some corridors, and then
right.
he has to go find it.
Right. I like that the one guy like seals off the door and he's like, I think I'm pretty okay, and the alien just goes around and like spears him with the tail. It's like, yep, there you go. Good job, alien.
The old arm through the glass trick as well.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh man, that's a
Mhm.
classic. As soon as I saw those doors had glass on them, I was like, that's gonna happen. That's a
Mhm.
thing. Um,
And then obviously things go south. The guy who looks a lot like Varys, and I'm from Game of Thrones, and I had to
mhm.
check. It's not Varys. He just
Okay.
looks a lot like him.
Okay.
Uh, he does the whole panic thing as the alien runs through the the casting mold essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He runs through it and he hits the switch and it starts like the piston from coming down.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that like the way they get it to go in there is Dylan stops Ripley from going after the alien because it
Mm-hmm.
won't move. And then the alien's all just like, "Oh no, 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 no! You don't hurt her. You
Right.
don't hurt her."
Right.
Like
That's
that
that's
instinct
not
kicking
okay.
in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good.
I do like this interesting fight scene of Dylan and the alien where like I love the tail whipping noises. Like I just love that the yeah, this like wild tail that's a weapon at the same time and he's like trying to hand fight an alien and he's just like just could somebody just dump this stuff on us please?
I love the build up to that fight where it's like them in the things and Ellen goes up and then
Yep.
he starts to go up and then the alien is matching him like climb for climb, goes up
Yeah.
with him, goes
They're
down with
they're
him.
climbing up cool alien movies chains.
Uh-huh.
Making a nice comeback here. Um Yeah, and I like that they this I really like this scene. I really like that they just dunk all this molten hot metal on the alien and they're like, "All right, we did it. Nothing could possibly
And
go wrong."
the music kicks in
Yeah,
too.
like the
You know
victory
they did it.
music and he says something like I really hate bugs and the alien just like comes right out of this molten metal and starts going after him. Uh and then they're like, "Hey, maybe we should turn on the sprinklers." And that works really well, and the alien explodes, which is
Uh-huh.
really satisfying.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just in time for the company to arrive.
Man, I really like the shot of the all the people from the company coming in the quarantine room. And I like the clear we find out it's Bishop here in a minute, but like the very clear leader with the sunglasses on with the backlighting, it's just like, all right, like daddy's here and he's pissed. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm here to get a lady and I'm here to freeze her and bring her back. Um, and I genuinely wasn't expecting this to be Bishop. When he comes out, it's just like, I'm sorry? And he's like, I'm not an android, of course. I'm the real Bishop. And I'm like, I'm sorry?
Uh-huh.
You're the what now? I'm happy to see you
Uh-huh.
back in the movie, man. But like,
Also, fun fact: I'm pretty sure Henriksen is one of two or three people to have been killed by an alien, a predator, and a Terminator. Just so you know.
oh, there you go. It's like in
Uh,
EGOT. You just get killed by all of them in all these different movies.
One of the other ones was actually Hudson from Aliens. She's been killed by all three too.
Ah, yeah, yeah. I like that he's like, look, hey, everyone, calm down. The alien's dead. Can you come
He
back
is
with me?
so good as a bad guy. This is
Yeah,
why
like,
Fishburne
look,
in Aliens works, is because he's
right.
so good as a bad guy.
Like, I've got this doctor with me. Look, he just says, don't worry, we'll knock you out, we'll cut it out, we'll kill it. We're definitely killing it. Don't worry, everything's fine. You can trust us. We're Wayland Yutani." And she's just like, "Wait a minute, yeah, you are. I just told all these guys like 30 minutes ago they're gonna kill every one of us to
Mhm.
secure this alien. I really don't believe you." Um, and I love him like immediately breaking and be like, "It's such a amazing specimen. I have to study it. Let me study it." And it's just like, "Yep,
Mhm.
there it is." And I,
As the prisoner moves the stuff away,
yep,
uh, and gets shot in the kneecap for it.
right. Like, hey man, you just maybe don't do that. Blap. Like,
That's Boss, by the way, is that guy's name.
yeah. Um, I love Lance Henriksen's scream as Ripley sort of reverse swan dives into the molten metal. It just
But
like,
she doesn't go into the metal, she goes into the furnace, like the
yeah,
place where
she does. Yeah, yeah,
and Hicks.
yeah. I so I was talking to my wife about the last shot of this movie. Um,
Mm.
Obviously, there's a very big difference between the theatrical
I was
version
I
and this
was
one.
literally about to ask if that came up because I actually prefer the theatrical cut version of this fall to this
Yeah,
version.
when I read about that, I was like, yeah, that is cooler sounding, where the queen sort of bursts out of her and she like yanks it down with her. Um, but what I was talking to my wife is like, I feel like as these movies have progressed, like at the end of the first movie, it's like, all right, Lieutenant Ripley from Nostromo signing off, which they bring back here. Um, and it's her and her cat totally happy. Everything's fine. At this end of the second movie, they're like, no, for real, everybody's happy, everything's fine. Don't make another Alien movie. That should be the end of it. And like at the end of this one, they're like, we killed her. Don't make another one. She's dead for real. like, please don't. Obviously, we have the 2021 foresight of there's three more of them. But like, I,
But, however,
mm,
minor spoilers here. Prometheus is based way before all this happens, as
okay.
is the other one, whatever that's called.
Uh,
Um,
Covenant. I had to look at
it,
this box that I have over here.
I figured.
Yeah,
Um, what's the name of the next Alien movie, Boston?
yeah. It's Alien Resurrection. Which as soon as she died in the end of this one, I was like, mm-hmm, uh-huh. You gonna do that, huh? You gonna let's see where this is going. not to spoil our next episode here, but I was like, mm-hmm, uh-huh. I know she's in that one.
So,
Mm-hmm.
who do we think's in that one then, Boston?
Yeah, pretty pretty good guess.
You literally ruined it in the title.
Right. Like, great, great. Um, but yeah, she falls in the furnace. They decommission the entire planet, and they're like, yeah, sell it all for scrap. We're done, and that's the credits. Yeah,
Yup.
yeah. So how this is your first viewing of the assembly cut over the theatrical cut. What did you think about this as a sort of an alternate version?
Because to be honest, I kind of like this one even more. Like I am, don't get me wrong, I am an apologist for things I enjoy. I enjoy
Sure.
the Star Wars prequels.
Right.
I enjoy because I am available for all people to learn from, where you go into something knowing it might not be for you,
Right.
or
Or it
even
might
if
not
it's
be
bad,
good.
or it might not be like I still haven't seen the last Star Wars movie
I haven't yet
because
either. We'll do that on
I'm
the show at some point,
I'm
listeners.
kind of scared, to be
Hmm.
honest, because the second to last Star Wars movie was great.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm fine if things end up being bad. I have no problem with that. That's fine. It was bad. I can accept that. I'm
Hmm.
not going to go and produce death threats against the people who made it.
Right.
Like,
Here's my review on my YouTube video. It's 4.5 hours long. It's like, no,
mhm.
nope.
Like I love the More Civilized Age crew, but they literally do 3 hours on an hour and a half movie with Phantom Menace. So,
Right. Right.
but they're also doing like lore delving and things like that. And to be
Yeah.
honest, if we wanted to, I'm pretty sure that me, you, and Mackie could sit down and do a 6 hour podcast about Alien One.
Oh,
Like
100%. Sign me up.
very easily.
Let's go.
Um, I always liked Alien Cubed. I
Hmm.
liked it in spite of its flaws, and there were a lot, like really bad CGI, really bad cuts, cut to hell, chopped up. You could tell something
Hmm.
was going on, but this was not pre-internet, but early internet, so it was
Yeah.
hard to know exactly what it was, especially when you're like 12, like I was. Um, I think this is so much better. Like this is such a better movie than the version I
Right.
watched when I was a kid. Um, and honestly, I think it's a worthy addition. Don't get me wrong, it's not Alien, it's not Aliens,
Oh, for sure.
but this is definitely a worthy addition into the franchise.
Yeah. I think I'm really torn on this because I think the first two movies are obviously classics. Like they're horror movie and action horror classics. There's no doubt about that.
If you lose me at some point, that's because a cat just decided to walk behind my monitor or where all my cables live. Dude,
Louise, get out of there. That's not where cats belong.
now she's
Um,
confused. I'm gonna have to grab her.
okay.
Okay, but you keep talking, I'm listening.
Okay. Obviously, the first two movies are horror movie and action horror movie classics. This one, I'm not gonna say I hate it because I feel like the only time I hate a movie is when I feel like I have wasted my time, and I
Yeah.
definitely don't feel like I wasted my time with Alien 3.
Wait, let's see how you feel about 4.
Yeah, 4 is my wife's favorite Alien movie, so we're gonna watch it together.
Wait, hold up. Hold on
Yeah,
a minute.
I want to get like a super fan's perspective on it.
Hold on a minute.
Uh huh.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I really love 4. 4 is bad in the best kind of ways.
Yeah. And she's also just like a Ron Perlman fan, so um
Well, he's in it, so that's one of my questions taken out the thing straight away.
right. Um
Thanks
I
for
don't
ruining the movie.
yeah. I don't inherently think that Alien 3 is bad. I just
Mhm.
like so much of it is just really not what I'm looking for after Alien 1 and 2. Like
Yeah.
there's so many characters and so many of them.
Oh, yeah. I think that's probably this movie's biggest weakness
Right. And
is
so many of them are
the
just like
cast.
fodder. Like they're just
And
things for the alien to kill.
they're all bald white guys.
Right. Like like they're all wearing the same coats, they're all wearing the same outfit. Like there's a lot to be said that I think is cool in this movie. The soundtrack rips. It's great. I think a lot of the cinematography is really solid. I feel like Fincher and crew are working. They're making a lot out of very little, which is like, yeah, it's a prison planet that looks like a factory. We got a lot of browns. I think they're
Mhm.
making a lot with that. I like that the whole crew has two really solid plans to kill the alien, both of which work. Like I think that's really cool. I like that Ripley is just like 100% over being hunted by this thing everywhere she goes. But like so much of it, at least in the assembly cut, is a lot of like the prisoners swearing at each other about something that's happening, and I feel like some of that even in the assembly cut could still be trimmed just to say like, yeah, we're
Mhm.
gonna light a candle for some guy and an alien's gonna eat one of them. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. They're all getting hunted. I know you got to account for them, but like,
I think I think the problem this movie suffers from is it goes back to the horror roots, to the horror and
yeah,
tension roots of Alien One, which is a real difficult thing to do when you've kind of been overexposed to the monsters in Aliens.
yeah,
Like you've gone from that extreme to the war extreme and then back to the horror, and it's like don't get me wrong, I like the fact that they barely show the alien, mostly because they barely show the CGI alien, which I'm
mm-hmm,
happy with these changes.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but we know what it looks like now.
Right, and like I respect them a lot for going back to here is one alien that's really good at killing, that's gonna kill all these bald white dudes. Like I like that as opposed to like last time they put rounds in hundreds of aliens. Like they're literally mowing them down. Um, I think there's so much in here that I think is cool, and I think it has a really great foundation, and even I feel like it's one of those movies where you hear that the production is troubled and you're like, ah, there it is. Like you had all these cool ideas and they just some of them came together, but it feels like it doesn't 100% click like in the first movie, especially like every idea in that movie like fits together perfectly. But in this one, it just never comes together in the same way. Even though there's a lot of cool stuff in it, but like I don't know, it's fine, but it's definitely a step down from the last two for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, interesting to see some early Fincher work here, especially. I still like this idea of except for the final two movies, it's like, yeah, I'm not bringing another director here. Like, we're gonna bring in the new kid. He's gonna take a crack at Alien. I like that idea for kind of the second and third movie, and I like anthology stuff, and I think that sort of pays off here, but it never really came together. So,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
like.
fine.
Yeah, I think it's a fine movie, very much like Prometheus, which I think Machia appreciates that movie a lot more than I do.
Hmm.
I think Prometheus is a better movie if it's not in the Alien franchise.
Oh, sure. If it's just like here's a science fiction prequel to something, who knows?
Yeah, or even
Yeah,
just a science fiction movie, because
yeah,
when you watch it, you can understand how that could happen. But they
right.
have to throw in all of the references to the Alien
Sure.
universe, because of course they do.
I've
Um,
got I've got to watch that.
how about we do it for a bonus content one day? Like
Yeah, there
we'll
you
just
go.
we won't even do a part one. We'll just do a part two of both
Yeah,
that
we
and
watched
Copy.
Prometheus. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um,
but no, I think this is a perfectly fine movie. I like the fact that it's an alien movie. I think it could probably do better without it, but at the same time, you don't have Sigourney Weaver. You don't have that backstory without it being set in this universe. You don't have
right.
a lot of the emotional hits don't happen because you don't have all of that jazz in there to go with it.
Yeah.
Um, genuinely, I do love this movie. This is probably number three in the franchise for me now. It's
Hmm.
itself back into number three position.
With the assembly cut, especially.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll wait and see how I feel about four upon rewatching that because it's been a while.
Yeah. 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 Next time we'll be watching the theatrical cut of Alien Resurrection. So we're
Mhm.
not gonna watch the director's one, but yeah. Well, that's Alien 3. Features three
Mhm.
times the aliens, except
Yep. Once,
not really.
twice, three times a Ripley.
What better way to end this episode than that?
Actually, I do want to mention something about Sigourney Weaver real quick.
Sure.
Alien, 30
Mm,
grand paycheck.
right.
Aliens, as we discussed, first woman to make $1 million.
Right.
Alien Cubed, 5.5 million.
Right. And like a co-producer credit in the movie, if I remember from the opening credits. Good for her.
I believe
She's
so.
great.
Um, she then promptly refused to ever do another Alien movie.
Yeah, weird. She died in this one, so
Uh-huh.
probably a good call.
when asked about the next movie, because spoiler, you already know she's in it.
Yeah.
She said they backed up a dump truck of money to her house.
Hey, man, I respect it. Get paid,
11,
man.
$11 million, dude.
Wow. And you get to hang out with Ron Perlman in some hallways on a soundstage. Like, hell yeah. Let's get back on the set.
With an insane French director.
Yeah. Oh, man. If only it was Luc Besson. Someday.
Dude,
Someday.
I would pay to see a Luc Besson.
Yeah. I would go to the theater to watch that. That would be incredible. Yeah.
Give me Luc Besson and the guy who did District 9.
Oh, yeah. Whew.
Doing like a team up movie
Spicy.
about aliens.
Oh, man. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.